guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to talk about if your child has been wanting a pet, what you should do about that. But yeah, and as you can see, I found my mic, and I don't know. Oh, and you probably can't hear me too well. I don't know if I filmed a video with this. I've had it for a while. I got it on TikTok or whatever. I'm not promoting anything. I'm just saying that's where I got it. But yeah, we're gonna get into this video. This is a better angle because then you can see all my paintings in the background. All cutesy little paintings. Sorry, didn't mean to do that. Okay, so the first thing is that it's not your child's pet, it's your pet. So you need to be fully responsible for this pet as much as your kid is, because really it's your pet. You should not have your kid having sole responsibility of this pet. So if they're wanting a mouse, let's say, and you would not take care of a mouse, then they cannot have a mouse. But if you're willing to take care of a fish, then yeah, give them a fish tank with fish. I should talk more, I'll get fully into it, but it needs to be a pet that you would be willing to take care of for any circumstance. If they want to stay at their friend's house one weekend, you need to be able to take care of this animal while they're at their friend's house, or if they want to go to camp one summer, or if you're divorced and your kid goes to their other parent's house for the week or the weekend or whatever, it's your pet, it's not their pet. But, you let them think that it's their pet, you let them name them, but yeah, it's not really theirs. The next thing is, is your child able to take care of a pet? So if they're 5 and they're wanting to get a guinea pig at the store, they're too young to take care of a guinea pig. It would be your pet fully. They would just have something to look at. I don't think children should really be playing with guinea pigs too much. It's one thing to hold them, but they have fragile spines and they're really hard and expensive to take care of. So I don't really fully recommend that for like a first pet for a kid. A lot of small animals I would not recommend. I think pretty much every small animal I would not recommend for a kid's first pet. Even though my kind of first pet was a guinea pig, and I'm very grateful that my mom did that. But she should have helped me when I first got it instead of being like, all right, this is your pet. So if you're willing to take care of a guinea pig, you want a guinea pig too, and your kid's like, oh, I want a guinea pig, mommy, then yeah. But it's, they need to be the right age to be able to take care of parts of this animal. Yeah. Next thing, I call this a test pet, but you'll see what that means. It sounds really bad, but this is what it means. Is it's a pet that belongs to one of your friends that your kid can watch. So let's say you have a friend and you'll be like, hey, can we have your pet this weekend? Like, we'll take care of it. You don't have to pay us. Like, is it cool? Like, let's do the example of a dog. Hey, can we have Max this weekend? We'll take care of it, whatever, to see if your kids will. Maui. See if your kids would take care of an animal. That's just like a testing, and see if they are able to handle Maui the responsibility. I don't know if she could. She's gonna keep licking. She's licking Stella's ear. That's what she's doing. And now she's like, oh, she's filming it. I have to stop. If I start talking and you do it again, you gotta stop. Probably not. She's probably about to do it again in a second. Where was I? I'm sorry. It's just a disaster. All the dogs are on the bed. Echo keeps nudging my notebook I have of things written on here off my bed. I've had to delete clips because she keeps doing it. I'm hoping she stops, but we will see. But anyways, it's probably best too if this worked out at a great time that your friends wanting to go on vacation, or they're like, yeah, I would like to go on vacation, but I don't have anyone to watch my dog. You could be like, hey, I'll watch your dog for free. You just give me all the stuff they need, stuff like that. Not everyone's gonna let anyone have their dog, or animal or whatever, but that would, if you do have someone that would do that, that would be amazing. Another thing is you could foster. You could sign up to be a foster for shelter dogs. The only thing I have a problem with that is because they are when it's your friend's pet, if your kid's like, I really want to keep him, you'd be like, no, he belongs to someone else. But when you're fostering an animal, they don't belong to anyone else, and it would be harder if your kid's like, I really want to keep him. They would have to be on their best behavior, and it would have to work out. And you would have to have this foster. You need to do this a couple times, not just once and be like, yeah, they handled it pretty good. you need to like try to dog sit multiple different dogs if you can, multiple different times would be best. Just see how your kid really reacts, because the first time will be like, yeah, and they'll do great, but like after, the fifth time of maybe them watching this dog, the novelty kind of wears off for them a little bit, and you'll really see if your kid is really wanting a pet or they're like, no. So you need to be doing research. Don't let your rely on your kid, but your kid should do research to see if they are willing to spend the time researching about the animal they want, and you guys have decided that would be okay. um, Oh, let me add this from the last one. If your kid's wanting a guinea pig, let's say, um, and you only have friends who have dogs and cats, as long as they're willing to take on the full responsibility of that dog, I feel like that almost will coincide with it. There's other things for guinea pigs that make it harder, um, and stuff like that for different species. But if you can have your kid taking responsibility of some type of pet, it would be best for a pet that they're wanting or a pet that's alike what they're wanting. But if you can't do that, then at least have them, doing what they need. Because of course, like for a dog, you would walk a dog, but for a guinea pig, you would make sure their cage is spotless at all times, right? They'll never be spotless. Guinea pigs are like, they just poop all the time, but like relatively clean, to your best extent. Um, Let me figure out where I'm at. And if your kid is on the younger side for doing research or whatever, they need to be able to do research on their own. But you can give them bullet points of like, hey, what kind of cage size do they need? What kind of food should we be getting? What do they eat? Um, I can't think of anything else right now. Um, type of food that they need, what type of cage they need. If they're in a cage, like what's the best thing to put them on in a cage, and the different requirements. Like for guinea pigs, there's the fleece liners. That is a way different requirement than if you were to get aspen bedding, yada yada. What is not good for them, how to handle the animal properly, uh, and stuff. It depends on each animal. I feel like some things change, like cleaning, how do you clean up after them, well, all this stuff. But you can give them bullet points, and then they have to do the research for each bullet point. Yeah. And also make them do research on if their animal, how to tell if their animal is sick or not, just so they can kind of, you should be keeping an eye on this, and you should do that research too. But so maybe they can keep an eye on it and be like, hey, like, she's not breathing like how she normally breathes. She's breathing kind of sharp, so you guys can keep an eye on that. But you should be looking at these animals every single day too. That's a really big point I wanted to say. So the next thing is make your kids do chores to earn money, so they can stick with a chore that maybe they won't like, but if they can stick to a chore, then that's good, and they'll earn money so that they can help pay for their pets. So you could try, it's depending on every family, but if you want them to 100% pay for their pets, they 100% pay for the pet, or you can do a 50-50, like, hey, if you earn this much, I'll cover the other half of that, or I'll just something like that. But have them earn the money and save, so they have, that's a good like thing for them to learn, is how to save money, to get things they want. uh but then, yeah, so if they hate mopping, honestly, I would give them the chore of mopping, because if they're doing something that they absolutely hate and they stick to it, then that they are ready for a pet. If they're just like, if they give up after a couple weeks or a week, I don't know how often you would mop for this example. It just depends on how much you do this thing. If they do it like 5 times and then they stop doing it, then maybe it's like, okay, I see you're not like mopping, so I don't think you really want a pet. So why don't we visit this sometime in the future? And that may get in their mind, or revisit in the future when you're more serious about having the pets. So maybe in their mind they'll be like, oh, this is gonna require work. Like, they need to understand that this is gonna require work, which this kind of goes into everything. So let's say they did do those chores and they earned half or whatever you wanted them to earn for money for this pet. You still need to be able to provide things for this pet too. Like, you should be, vet bills and stuff like that, that the animal that you're getting, if they go to the vet and stuff, what they'll be requiring. Um, Yeah, I'm forgetting something. I forgot to add this for the research. They should also research cost of stuff too, so they understand that this animal is not a cheap animal. And if you're wanting to, when they have the animal, that they have to be providing the food and stuff, you need to consider that type of animal. So your kid will still need to be doing either, probably chores because they're not going to be old enough to actually go and work. But doing chores, if you want them to pay for their food, which is a good thing to do, so they actually take a really good responsibility of this animal. But you need to keep an eye out on that stuff, maybe and give them warnings too if you do. Maybe I should wait until I get to this point. I already started saying it. I'm gonna say it. Is that when you have the animal, you can give them warnings. No, no, I need to talk about something else before I get to this. I'm sorry. I was about to go into what I'm talking about, is that you need to fully explain everything. So, how you're wanting this animal to be raised. So, you can have this was going into what I was just saying that last clip, a very strict rule or whatever, where you give them like a warning. You could set either one warning or two warnings. Give them a warning about like, and if you give them one warning once, and then like 2 years later they forget and they don't do whatever you gave them warning about, that's a little bit different because clearly they were taking care of the animal for 2 years really good, but they accidentally forgot to clean the cage one night or something like that. That would also, I don't know what kind of territory, it depends on for your family, how that would roll. I feel like that would just be like for me, I would be like, hey, like, you forgot, blah, blah, blah. But give them warnings about, pick how many warnings you want to do, but give them warnings about something. So let's say they clean the cage it depends on what you're doing. We're going to do a fish tank. Let's say they clean the fish tank every Friday. They clean it, they do the water change, and they change the filter, or I don't know, I can't remember how often you clean a filter for a fish tank. I haven't had fish in so long. I feel like that's a monthly thing. That's a monthly thing. Let's say weekly. They weekly water change and clean the tank, but they forgot to clean the tank. You'd be like, hey, like, did you clean the tank on Friday? And it's like Saturday, and they're like, oh no, like I forgot. I'll go do that now. Like that's okay because sometimes we forget things, especially children. But if it keeps happening, it's gonna be like hey, you need to make sure that you're remembering. If they have a phone, then give them like an alarm on their phone, or put something on their like door or wall where they leave the room around the fish tank to wherever the fish tank is at. So somewhere that they're gonna see often, that they need to remember to do this. Um, they should be at reading age level, of course. If they're not, then they should not be getting their own pet. They can't read. Uh, that's something I'm gonna say. I'm strong about that. Where am I at? So, before, did I say this? Oh my god, I don't think I did. Before you get the pet, you need to fully explain all this stuff too. So you need to tell them like, hey, I think I did, but I'm gonna talk more in depth with that, I guess. You need to fully explain, so you're like, hey, if 3 times, if I have to tell you that you need to clean the fish tank, we are going to get rid of the fish. Like, we will not have these fish anymore. You have 3 warnings. Um, so, you know, make sure they have a strict schedule. Like, okay, everything is like this. You feed them every morning before school. You turn on the tank light, you feed them, and then get ready and go to school or whatever way, or before you leave for school, make sure you did this. Um, which you can get one of those things, which I kind of like, because sometimes I forget these things and I write them down. Like, I don't forget, like with the fish, it's one thing to kind of like forget. I got into a routine. When I first started getting fish, was in a routine of feeding them when I turned on the light, but then I became in a routine of that after a while. But they make these things so for pets, and you could slide that they ate. Oh, did they eat Monday? Fed. They ate Tuesday? Fed. And do that. That after you feed them, you mark it down so you remember, like, oh yeah, I did feed them. Which would be great because kids, it can be busy and they could forget, but they shouldn't, because it's the living thing's life on the line. so you need to be careful about this. It's a living thing. Like, it's not a toy. It's alive and it should be taken care of. I kind of wrote fully explain everything in strict rules, but I think I talked about both where you're just like setting like a hey, if you don't do this, they're gone. Um, but animals also aren't like disposable, so you need to know that your kid is going to take care of this living thing. They're not something that you can get and then you're like, oh, they're not, dispose of. You should not. So if you think like, oh, my kid probably won't, then don't give them it. um I would prefer, like, if like for me, if my kid wanted a guinea pig, I would get them guinea pigs or whatever. But if they end up not taking care of them, I would take the guinea pigs. Like, they would be my thing. Any pet that my kid would want, if they'd end up not wanting, I would take care of for the rest of that pet's life. Just because I am an animal person, I want to own a bunch of different type of pets, so it wouldn't really bug me. But if you're someone who doesn't really like animals, it's not really the best for your kids to be getting one. I don't think, like, my mom hates dogs and stuff and animals. She liked the guinea pigs, but she wouldn't take care of them. My mom doesn't like animals, so she should have never let me have animals. I'm very glad that she did, but um, because she doesn't like animals, she doesn't understand. Like, if you don't like animals, you need to understand things. Like, she would, not understand that the dogs need to go to the vet and the guinea pigs need to go to the vet and that the guinea pigs need a proper care. So, I don't fully blame my mom for how the guinea pigs were taken care of. I just partially for certain things because she should have took charge in that because I was a child, but I should have learned better faster. I don't really get into that. This video is gonna be posted after those games, so you can go on my channel and see the mistakes I've made while owning pets because I've owned fish, guinea pigs, and dogs. So I'm talking about all the mistakes I've made because I've owned these animals when I was a child, and I'm glad I own them, but also I do regret owning them for the fact of they weren't properly taken care of. Um, that's how it is. I'm gonna make sure I said everything. I hope this is good quality because if it's not, I'll just refilm it. Alright, guys. I'm gonna call that it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope if you're considering get your kid a pet that this helped make that final decision, or get you in a right direction step or whatever. I just want to say again that it would not be your kid's pet. It's your pet. If you do not want to take care of this pet, then they cannot have the pet. Because if something goes down or if they just can't take care of them for some reason, because they're a kid, they shouldn't, they should also have fun and be able to play with their friends and spend the night at their friend's house. But also, if they do have a pet, they need to take care of that pet. So it's kind of like a fine line. Um, okay, guys. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, like it. You can comment down below. If you have any suggestions about this that I did not mention in this video, you can comment that, and then maybe someone who watches this video could see your comments, and they'll be like, "Oh, okay." I usually comment when people comment on posts. I usually reply to them because I only have like 100 and some followers. Can't remember off the top of my head right now because it changes every day. But at the moment I have like I think 120 followers. I think it's 130. Last time I checked, it was like 128, so it might be 130 now. It could be less. Who knows? But yeah, I would hope you would subscribe. I make a lot more animal videos, but I do make some sewing videos and plant videos every once in a while. Bye guys.